useful. I wanted to follow up with a new guest, May Boeve, who is Executive Director of 350 Action. He referenced climate change, which is more than happens in these debates. The next one, which we're about to see. Right now, Chris Wallace, this debate is going to happen in just about 35 minutes, and we'll be going to it live at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas. Chris Wallace laid out the 6 areas that they're going to be talking about. Among them, fitness to be president, immigration, entitlements and the budget. As well, he's going to be talking about foreign hotspots. But in these 6, we did not see climate change. What about this issue, May?
Well, of course, we've heard precious little on the issue of climate change in this election. And in even some of those 6 areas, climate change could come up. It is relevant to the issue of global hotspots. It is relevant to the issue of the budget. But Fox News does not have a great track record of asking questions about climate change when it comes to actually believing it is an important issue.
But we should say that there have been 3 other debates, 1 vice presidential, 2 presidential, and in none of these debates where it wasn't Fox that was moderating did they raise this question of climate change. Yes, Hillary Clinton raised it once in a sort of side comment, and at the town hall that Martha Raddatz of ABC and Anderson Cooper of CNN moderated, one of the people in the audience asked a question about fossil fuel workers.
Which we were glad to see. At least it came up in that respect. But it's not a good indication of how concerned voters are about this issue. Because when questions were submitted before the debate, the 4th most highly ranked question was about climate change. And we've been talking this evening about the role of young voters. For that group in particular, climate change is a vitally important issue. Imagine for a second if this were your first election that you were voting in. We're all talking about how it's a historically disappointing election. Imagine if you're a young person, this is your first chance to vote for a president. And for many of the young people we work with in the climate movement, just let that sink in for a second. But the good news is when we're talking to young activists around the country, they're actually excited about taking part in this because they see that the long game is about building a stronger movement. They know they have to get engaged in politics. We know our movements have to build power. But the work that they're excited about really resumes on November 9th. That's why we're seeing actions like the #GOP Hands Off Me action that young feminists have been engaged in. So we're seeing a lot of excitement among young voters. And for us, we're particularly tapped into what young climate voters are interested in.
Now, clearly, Hillary Clinton needs Bernie Sanders right now in a major way. So you have Bernie Sanders crisscrossing the country, championing Hillary Clinton, the woman that he ran against, and that is how the election system works after the primary. But I think it clearly shows that Hillary Clinton sees that the millennial vote is not with her, and she needs to really galvanize people. What do you see as a young person who's involved in the climate action movement? What gives you any faith right now? Hillary Clinton, known as a champion of fracking, and a lot has come out in the WikiLeaks documents over these years.
We know, without a doubt, she's not where she needs to be on this issue. And if anyone had any doubt, the line about climate activists getting a life is further evidence. So,
explain.
In the leaked emails, there was a reference to some of the young people who are coming to rallies and asking questions about keeping fossil fuels in the ground, and the response was essentially, get a life. This came out earlier this week. But leaving that aside for a moment, in campaigning, in organizing, you need to know
Have you been looking for a life, May?
Yes, I've been looking, and now I'm extra happy with the one I found. But in politics and in organizing, you need to know where you stand. So we know exactly where we stand. We know exactly where we're going to need to push. Fracking is going to be the critical litmus test for us, looking to see how we change the positions. But there were some bright spots in campaigning in the primary. We got some good commitments. We got good commitments around stopping the Keystone Pipeline. That had never happened before, and it was organizing on the campaign trail that got that commitment. So we don't say that to be rosy-eyed optimists, but we know what we need to do to push, and we think we can do it.
On the Dakota Access Pipeline, which is just 6 miles short of the Keystone XL, Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump have not taken a stand on this, despite the fact that thousands of people have been there, particularly Native Americans, taking on this $3.8 billion oil pipeline that begins in the Bakken oil fields of North Dakota with fracked oil and takes that oil, the Native Americans call it the Black Snake, through that pipeline from North to South Dakota to Iowa to Illinois.
We've got to get clarity about what she plans to do. This is going to be something she's already getting asked about it everywhere she goes, but the pressure is not going to let up on that a single bit. It's only going to intensify.